parents chose my sister's boutique over my daughter's surgery, giving her $140,000 instead. My fiancé asked, should I tell them I make $1.1 million a year? The restaurant's cutlery was more expensive than my first automobile. My fiancé, Michael, had particularly picked it for this supper. When I questioned the decision, he said that my parents would take us more seriously in an expensive environment, demonstrating that we were responsible people worth investing in. I had been too desperate to dispute. Looking back, I understood he already knew how the evening would go. My daughter Sophia sat next to me, her hand never leaving mine. At the age of 7, she knew more than any youngster should. The tumor pushing on her spinal cord had taught her about pain, hospitals, and conversations that would abruptly end when she entered rooms. She asked me 2 weeks ago if she was going to die. I hugged her and lied, claiming everything was all right. However, the operation cost $150,000, and our insurance company refused the claim twice, claiming it was an elective treatment despite 3 independent medical assessments verifying its need. My folks came 15 minutes late. Clara donned her new Chanel jacket, which she had shown on Facebook last month. John was wearing his Rolex, which he had given himself as an anniversary gift. My sister Rachel stepped in after them, already beaming the same grin she'd mastered over 32 years. The one who said she had already won the game we were playing. Sorry we're late, Rachel apologized, kissing the air near my cheek. The traffic from the spa was extremely terrible. Michael stood and shook hands with my father before pulling out seats for the women. Regardless of our predicament, he insisted on paying for this supper. When I argued, he just answered, "Trust me." Those 2 words had carried me through the previous 2 months. Michael worked in finance, a complex field with foreign accounts that he rarely addressed at home. We'd been engaged for 8 months, and he had been Sophia's father in ways that went beyond genetics. The waiter delivered menus. Rachel chose the most costly wine without consulting anyone else's preferences. This was standard. She'd always been the golden child, incapable of doing anything wrong. She dropped out of college twice because she was searching for herself. I was bragging about finishing my degree after working 3 jobs. She'd married a real estate developer who abandoned her for his secretary, stealing the most of their money in the process. My parents had paid for her legal bills, the down payment on her new condominium, and her credit card debt. They'd never volunteered to aid me with anything. So once we'd ordered, John spoke with the boardroom authority he was known for. "You said this was important." I began to speak, but my throat tightened. Sophia gripped my hand. She had wanted to stay at home with Michael's sister, but I needed her here. I needed my parents to understand what was at stake. Michael spoke instead. "We're here because Sophia needs surgery. It's time sensitive. The tumor is growing, and the doctors have given us a narrow window before it causes permanent paralysis." Clara's expression fluttered with alarm. "Oh honey, that's terrible, but surely your insurance denied it." I survived. "They're calling it elective, not medically necessary. We've appealed twice. Our lawyer says we might win eventually, but Sophia doesn't have eventually. She has 4 weeks before the neurological damage becomes irreversible." It became real when the number appeared. Sophia's fingers clenched around mine. Rachel drank her wine. "That is truly awful, but what do you expect Mom and Dad to do about it?" I had anticipated this question. I'd practiced it in the mirror, the vehicle, and in the shower. "I'm asking for a loan. The surgery costs $150,000. I'll sign anything. Agree to any terms. I have my house as collateral. I'll work the rest of my life if I have to, but I need help now." John was enjoying his steak. The knife scratched on the plate. "That's a substantial amount of money." "I know. And you're certain about this surgeon? Have you gotten second opinions?" asked Michael. "We've consulted with 7 specialists across 3 states. Dr. Williams at Johns Hopkins is the best option. He's done this procedure successfully for years with excellent outcomes. The insurance company is just trying to avoid pain." "Still risky?" Rachel remarked. "I mean, surgery is always risky. Maybe you should wait and see if the insurance comes through." Sophia made a little squeak. Not exactly a whimper, but close. I wanted to hurl my water glass at Rachel's flawlessly made-up face. "The tumor won't wait," Michael remarked, his voice calm but frigid. "Every day increases the likelihood of permanent damage." Clara leaned across the table and touched my hand. The gesture was theatrical and intended to be seen. "Sweetheart, we want to help. We really do. But that kind of money is complicated. We have our own obligations." "Like what?" My comments came out harsher than I had intended. John's jaws constricted. He dreaded being questioned. "Like your mother's medical expenses, like house maintenance, like retirement planning." I had seen their bank records a few years ago. When I assisted them with their taxes, They have investments totaling more than $2 million. The home was paid off. Clara's medical bills included Botox injections and dermatological treatments. She contacted a wellness doctor. I'm not asking for a gift, I explained. Rachel slumped back in her chair. I'll put it in writing. I'll pay interest. Whatever you need. You know what your problem is? You've always been so proud. Too proud to ask for help until you're desperate. And then you expect everyone to just drop everything. The boldness of the comment took my breath away. Rachel had asked for money so many times that I'd lost count. Rachel had borrowed $4,200 from me 6 years ago and never mentioned it again. Rachel had moved back home 3 times as an adult. That's not fair, I muttered. Life isn't fair, sweetie. Rachel smiled wider. You made your choices. You had a kid young. You picked a career that doesn't pay well. You stop. Clara's words broke through the tension. This isn't helpful. The table became silent. The diner proceeded around us. Other families ate their lunches, unconscious that my entire world was disintegrating in the corner booth. John cleared his throat. We've actually been discussing this since you called. Your mother and I have talked it over extensively. Hope erupted in my chest. Painful and bright. We have decided that we can give you some money, he added. Not the full amount, but something to help. How much? Mike inquired. $18,000. The hope died. $18,000 would not even cover the anesthesiologist. I started to say something, but John raised his hand. However, she said, we've also decided to help Rachel. She's been through a difficult time with the divorce, and she's trying to start over. We want to support both our daughters. The universe was shifting. Clara smiled as she said, what do you mean by help, Rachel? She genuinely grinned. We're giving her the money we'd set aside for your request. Rachel wants to start a boutique. She's always been creative and now she has the opportunity to truly establish herself. A boutique? I repeated the words since they made no sense. You're using my daughter's medical money to open a shop. It's not your money, Rachel responded hastily. It's their money. They can do whatever they want with it. Michael placed his hand on my shoulder. His hold was firm and anchored. How much? I asked. How much are you giving her? John said, his expression slightly uneasy. We've agreed to invest $140,000 in Rachel's business venture. It's a loan, of course. Though we're not requiring immediate repayment, she'll pay us back when the business is profitable. The figures were not even attempting to conceal what this was. They took the exact amount I had requested and gave it to my sister instead. They kept $18,000 to preserve deniability and claimed they were assisting each of us equally. So, to be clear, Michael explained calmly, you're choosing to fund a boutique over your granddaughter's medical surgery. That's not how we see it, Clara said. We're helping both our daughters. Rachel deserves a chance at a better life. She's been through so much. And what has Sophia been through? I asked sharply and clearly. What exactly has my 7-year-old been through that matters less than Rachel's lifestyle choices? Don't be so dramatic, Rachel yelled. It's not like she's dying. Sophia snatched her hand away from me. I heard her quick inhalation, the type that preceded tears. Michael quickly hurried to her side, crouching next to her chair and mumbling something I couldn't hear. Actually, I said, turning to my sibling, without the surgery, paralysis is guaranteed within 2 months, and yes, the tumor is potentially fatal, so maybe choose your words more carefully when discussing my daughter's life. Girls, please. Clara's voice was plaintive as if she wanted everyone to get along so she wouldn't have to deal with problems. This doesn't have to be a fight. We're all family. John nodded. We've made our decision. We think it's fair and balanced. Rachel needs this opportunity and we want to support her. You'll figure something out for Sophia. You always do. The dismissal was plain. They had made up their minds before even arriving at the restaurant. This dinner was merely theater, an opportunity for them to announce their choice and feel kind about the symbolic $18,000 they were providing. She deserves a better life, John said, nodding toward Rachel. After everything she's been through, she deserves this chance. He stated it with pride, as if he had done something heroic by selecting one daughter's business enterprise above the other daughter's kid. As if this were knowledge rather than malice. I did not weep. I've wept enough over the last 2 months. I sobbed in hospital parking lots, the shower, and my car during lunch breaks. I sobbed till I was left with a cold, unambiguous sense of who my parents were. Instead, I turned to stare at Michael. He had returned to his seat after reassuring Sophia, and his expression was inscrutable. Our gazes connected, and I noticed something I had never seen before. not sympathy, not even anger. It was a calculation. He rose up carefully and reached inside his jacket pocket. His phone appeared sleek and costly. He held it lightly, almost carelessly, while looking at my father. "Should I tell them what I do for a living?" the man inquired. The question remained in the air. Rachel's smile started to fade. She'd been victorious seconds before, shining with pride. Uncertainty crept into her features. "You work in finance," John said dismissively. "We know that." "I do," Michael agreed. "But specifically, I'm a senior partner at Berkeley & Company. We handle wealth management and private banking for high net worth individuals. I manage a portfolio of about $750 million. The telephone number struck like a bomb. Clara's fork halted halfway to her mouth. "My annual salary is $1.1 million, not counting bonuses," Michael said, his voice casual. "Last year my bonus was $2.9 million. I've been hesitant to discuss this because your daughter values privacy, and I didn't want our relationship to be about money." Rachel's grin had entirely vanished. Her face had turned pale behind her makeup. "We haven't needed your money," Michael explained, staring at my parents. "We have more than enough for Sophia's surgery. I have investment accounts, savings, assets. We could pay for this surgery 10 times over without feeling it." I felt woozy. "David, I wanted you to ask them," he added, turning to face me. "You needed to know who they really are, what they would choose when it mattered." His gaze returned to my parents. "And now we all know." John's face had gotten crimson. "Then why put us through this charade?" "Because it wasn't a charade for me," Michael explained. "I genuinely wanted to believe that when faced with their granddaughter's life, they would make the right choice. I was wrong, and I'm sorry for that, but I needed to know what kind of people I was marrying into." He took out his wallet and put a credit card on the table. "Dinner's on me, all of it, including Rachel's expensive wine." Rachel discovered her voice. "You let us think. You manipulated." "I observed," Michael corrected. "There's a difference. We came here asking for help, and you revealed exactly who you are. The money I have doesn't change the choice you made. You decided your daughter's boutique was worth more than your granddaughter's health. That's a decision you'll have to live with." Clara grabbed for me. "Sweetie, if we'd known." "Known what?" I pushed away from her grip. "That Michael had money. That only matters if you were making a financial decision instead of a moral one. Sophia needed surgery either way. That didn't change." "This isn't fair," Rachel said, her voice rising. "You set us up. You made us look bad on purpose." Michael laughed sharply. "Nobody made you do anything. You were given the opportunity to aid a youngster, your niece, but you declined. The fact that we don't need your money does not affect your decision. We were still planning to give you $18,000, John objected. "That's not nothing." "You're right," I responded, standing. "It's not nothing. It's insulting. It's the minimum amount you thought you could offer while still claiming you helped. It's a tip, not assistance." I lifted Sophia up, and she placed her arms around my neck. She was becoming too large to carry comfortably, yet I longed to hold her. Michael placed his hand on my back and guided us to the exit. "Wait," Clara said. "Please don't leave like this. We can talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about," I said without looking around. "You made your choice. Rachel gets her boutique. I hope it's everything she dreams of." "You're being childish," Rachel yelled. "Just because you tricked us." I paused and turned around. The entire restaurant was watching, but I didn't mind. "I didn't trick anyone," I stated unequivocally. "I asked my parents to help save my daughter's life. You all decided that funding a retail business was more important. Those are the facts. What you do with that information is up to you." We departed. The chilly evening air touched my face as we headed to Michael's vehicle. Sophia was silently weeping on my shoulder. Michael unlocked the door and assisted us both inside before getting into the driver's seat. For a long time, neither of us talked. The restaurant's lights gleamed behind us, warm and welcoming, in stark contrast to what had just transpired inside. "I'm sorry," Michael eventually said. "I know that was hard." "Why didn't you tell me?" I inquired about the money. "About your plan." "Because you wouldn't have gone through with it," explained the man. "You would have said it was cruel or manipulative, but I needed you to see them clearly. We're about to get married. Sophia is about to become my legal daughter. I needed to know if they were going to be a positive presence in our lives or a toxic one." He was correct. I'd have declined. I would have argued it was overly harsh and deliberate. But sitting at that dinner, witnessing my parents prioritize Rachel's demands over Sophia's, confirmed everything. "They'll try to reconcile," Michael stated. Once they process this, once Rachel's boutique inevitably fails, they'll reach out. They'll want access to our life, to the money they now know we have. You need to decide now what that relationship looks like. Sophia stirred against me. Mommy, why doesn't Grandma love me? The question destroyed something in my heart. She does, baby. She just doesn't know how to show it properly. That's a lie, Sophia murmured quietly. You don't have to lie anymore. I heard what they said. Michael caught my attention in the rearview mirror. Your grandparents made a bad choice tonight, Sophia. But you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. The surgery is scheduled for next month, and you're going to get better. Will I see them again? Sophia inquired. That's up to your mom, Michael said. And eventually up to you. The ride home that night seemed weird. Sophia fell asleep in the back seat, weary by the emotional toll. Michael's hand met mine across the console, his thumb drawing circles in my palm. Neither of us talked for the first 10 minutes. I keep replaying it, I eventually admitted. The look on John's face when he said Rachel deserves a better life. Like it was obvious. Like it was the only reasonable conclusion. Michael clasped my hand. He believed it. That's what makes it so devastating. He genuinely thought funding a boutique was equivalent to saving a child's life. How did you stay so calm? I inquired. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table. Years of practice hiding what I'm thinking, he joked. It's a skill you develop in finance. But trust me, I wanted to do a lot more than flip a table. When we came home, I brought Sophia upstairs and put her to bed. She stirred when I lifted the cover. Mom. Her voice was small and tired. Yes, baby. Are we going to be okay? I brushed back her hair. We're going to be more than okay, I promise. Even without Grandma and Grandpa? The question wounded my heart, especially if that is what it takes to keep you safe and loved correctly. She nodded and closed her eyes. I observed her for a long time, this courageous young kid who had been through so much. The biopsy left a scar on her back. The night she sobbed in anguish, and how she learned to ask me whether we could afford things before asking for them. 7 years old and already carrying hardships that no youngster should bear. I went downstairs and found Michael in his office. He had his laptop open, with many displays displaying financial figures and data I could not comprehend. I'm establishing a trust, he replied without looking up at Sophia. Education, medical expenses, whatever she needs. It'll be ironclad. Your parents won't be able to touch it or contest it. Michael and I are having our lawyer create an agreement that clearly excludes them from any medical choices. If anything happens to you, they have no rights. My sister gets guardianship, not them. I settled into the chair opposite from his desk. You really think they try to interfere? He turned his gaze at me. I think people who value money over a child's health can rationalize anything. I'm not taking chances with Sophia's future. The next morning, I had 17 missed calls. My folks had evidently spent the night attempting to contact me. The voicemails varied from bewildered to furious to imploring. I erased them all without listening beyond the first few seconds. Work was a pleasant diversion. I'd been the marketing director at a small software business for 3 years, and my boss had been quite supportive of Sophia's medical predicament. When I arrived, my colleague Ethan was waiting at my desk with coffee. How did it go with your parents? He inquired. I told him about the supper and my severe need for support, but I didn't divulge Michael's plan or his salary. They decided to sponsor my sister's store instead. Ethan's mouth fell. You're joking. I wish I was. What are you going to do? Can you take out loans? Start a GoFundMe? Actually, I remarked, sitting down and going onto my computer. Michael had the money all along. He wanted to see what choice they'd make. Ethan was silent for a bit. That's either brilliant or cruel. I can't decide which. Neither can I confessed. But it worked. I know exactly who they are now. My telephone rang. Mom, are you calling again? I declined. They're not taking the hint, Ethan inquired. They're probably still in shock. Give them a few days to get angry. That's when the real messages will start. I was correct. On Wednesday the tone altered. John texted me, calling me ungrateful and manipulative. Clara sent a lengthy email detailing how I was pulling the family apart. Rachel left me a message with every name she could think of. Her voice was harsh and aggressive. You always have to be the victim, Rachel's message said. You always have to make everything about you. Mom and Dad were trying to help both of us, and you threw a tantrum because you didn't get your way. Grow up, the world doesn't revolve around you and your kid. I stored the voicemail. Something told me that I could need it later. Michael returned home on Thursday evening with some news. Your sister went to my office today. I glanced up from assisting Sophia with her schoolwork. What? She showed up at the reception desk, demanded to see me. Security escorted her out, but not before she caused a scene. He undid his tie. She was yelling about how I'd ruined her life. How I'd manipulated everyone. How she was going to sue me for emotional distress. Can she do that? No. But she can try. It will cost her money that she does not have. He poured himself a drink. Your parents were waiting in the parking garage. I think they'd planned it together. My stomach constricted. Did they approach you? Your father did. Asked if we could talk man to man. I told him we had nothing to discuss and that if any of them showed up at my workplace again, I'd get a restraining order. Sophia was looking at us, her pencil frozen over her arithmetic paper. I faked a grin. It's okay, sweetheart. Just adult drama. Nothing for you to worry about. She did not appear persuaded, but she returned to her schoolwork. That night after Sophia had fallen asleep, I finally broke down. Michael discovered me in the bathroom, sitting on the floor and weeping into a towel to mask the sound. They were supposed to love her, I blurted out. She's their granddaughter. How could they choose money for Rachel over Sophia's life? What kind of people do that? Michael sat next to me, drawing me against him. The kind of people who never should have been parents in the first place. I keep thinking about when I was younger. John teaches me how to ride a bike. Clara's making my Halloween outfits. Were those folks ever genuine, or was I simply helpful until I wasn't? Maybe both, Michael said gently. People can love you and still be fundamentally selfish. The love doesn't make the selfishness hurt less. Friday offered a different strategy. My Aunt Helen, Clara's sister, contacted me. We had always been tight. When my parents were away, she was in charge of looking after me. The one who came to my college graduation after skipping Rachel's rehab graduation. Your mother asked me to call, she explained. She's devastated. They both are. They should be. Sweetheart, I'm not calling to take sides. I just want you to know that they're struggling with this. They thought they were making a balanced decision. On Helen, they paid Rachel $140,000 for a store and offered me $18,000 for Sophia's operation. How is that balanced? She exhaled. When you put it like that, it sounds bad. It sounds bad because it is bad. Your mother mentioned that Michael had money all along, that you weren't really in need. Would it have been okay if we were actually desperate? I blurted out. If we'd had no options and they'd still chosen Rachel's boutique, would that have been fine? Of course not. Then Michael's money doesn't change anything. They made a choice based on what they believed was true. They chose wrong. Aunt Helen was silent. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called. It's okay, but please tell them to stop. Stop calling. Stop showing up places. Stop sending people to talk to me. They made their decision. I've made mine. In comparison, the weekend was rather tranquil. Michael brought us to the zoo. Sophia giggled for the first time in days as she pointed out animals and enthusiastically read the information panels. We had lunch in the cafe, and Michael let Sophia to order whatever she wanted. This is nice, Sophia murmured, chocolate ice cream on her chin. Just us. Just us. I agreed and wiped her face. Michael caught my eye above Sophia's head. His look was both sorrowful and resolute. We were creating our own family, one that excluded those who had failed the most fundamental test of love. Monday morning marked the first break in my parents' togetherness. Clara phoned from a number I didn't know, so I answered, assuming it was the hospital or Sophia's school. Please don't hang up, she pleaded right away. I just need 5 minutes. I should have disconnected right then. You have to. Your father and I had a fight, a bad one about the money, about Rachel, about you. He's saying I'm too soft, that you're being manipulative, and we should stand firm. But I keep thinking about Sophia. You should have thought about Sophia at dinner. I know. You're right. I should have. Her voice crackled. I've made a lot of mistakes with you, favoring Rachel, looking the other way when she treated you badly. I told myself it was because she needed more support, because she struggled more. But the truth is, it was easier to give in to her than to stand up for you. I did not react. Couldn't. I want to make this right, Clara added. I know you don't need the money now. But I want to give it to you anyway. For Sophia's surgery. For her recovery. Whatever you need. I'll take it from the money we gave Rachel. And what does John think about this silence? He doesn't know you're calling, does he? He'd be furious, but I don't care anymore. You're my daughter. Sophia is my granddaughter. I should have chosen you. It was the closest thing to an apology I had ever received from her. A part of me wanted to embrace it, to believe she had finally seen the light. But another part, the one that had witnessed her grin while explaining why Rachel deserved more, couldn't forget. I appreciate that, Mom, I really do. But it's too late. Please, you didn't just make a financial mistake. You revealed what you value. And I can't expose Sophia to people who might make her feel less important than her cousins, or less worthy of love or support. I can't risk her internalizing the same treatment I got. I would never make her feel that way. You already did. She was sitting right there when you said Rachel deserves a better life. She heard every word. She asked me later why you don't love her. Clara's sob was clear over the phone. I'm not trying to hurt you, I said. But I'm done protecting your feelings at the expense of my daughter's well-being. You made your choice. This is mine. I hung up before she could reply. Then I added her new number to my contacts as Mom. Do not answer. So I'd know it if she phoned back. Michael had been listening at the doorway. That must have been hard. It was necessary, I explained. She wants absolution without consequence. That's not how this works. 2 weeks later, my phone was buzzing with texts. First from Mom, then John, and then from Rachel. The store had fallen through. The property owner noticed Rachel's business plan was insufficient, and she had no experience. He pulled out of the lease. Rachel was insisting that my parents sue him. They asked whether we might aid with legal bills. I banned all of their numbers, including Mom's new one. Sophia's operation was set for the following Tuesday. After another patient rescheduled, Dr. Williams was able to move forward her appointment time. The time was excellent. We'd be done with this before my relatives could cause further havoc. Sophia underwent surgery on a Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after the catastrophic supper. After 6 hours, Dr. Williams came out and informed us everything had gone great. The tumor was fully removed, and while she will require physical therapy, a full recovery was predicted. I cried in Michael's arms in the waiting area, releasing months of worry and anxiety. Rachel arrived at the hospital 2 hours later. She must have phoned around to find out where we were, most likely nagging common acquaintances until they informed her. She got past the front desk, pretending to be Sophia's aunt, and located us in the surgery recovery wing waiting room. Her hair was dirty and her makeup smudged. She seemed desperate. Please, she asked. I need to talk to you. Mom and Dad won't take my calls. The boutique money, they want it back. They're threatening to take me to court. I need help. I need a lawyer. Michael stood between her and me, saying, You need to leave. She's my sister. I have a right. You have no rights here. Michael said coldly. You made it clear where your priorities were, now deal with the consequences. Security escorted her out. I watched her leave, feeling nothing but tiredness. Clara and John tried again, arriving with flowers and cuddly animals. They grinned and cooed over Sophia, as if the meal had never occurred. Sophia gently received their presents but declined to talk with them. After 15 minutes of uncomfortable small conversation, they departed. In the parking garage, John cornered me while Clara kept Michael busy. You know this makes you just as bad as us, he replied calmly, cutting us off since we had made one mistake, using money to influence relationships. You're no better. I studied him closely, this man who had taught me to ride a bike, assisted me with homework, and accompanied me down the aisle at my first wedding. I attempted to locate a glimmer of affection for him but came up empty. The difference, he replied, is that I would have given you the money if Sophia was fine and Rachel was sick. I would have helped without conditions or tests. You failed one. I'm not manipulating you with money. I'm protecting my daughter from people who valued a boutique over her life. There's a difference. He flinched. We didn't know Michael had money. That's what makes it unforgivable, I corrected myself. If you'd known, you might have made a different choice. But that would have been for the wrong reasons. You should have chosen Sophia because she's a child who needed help. The money should never have mattered. I went away, leaving him standing alone amid the vehicles. Sophia walked alone for the first time in 6 months after surgery. Her physical therapist sobbed. So did I. Michael videotaped the entire affair, speaking like a sports announcer and making Sophia giggle. We went home, ordered pizza, and watched movies till Sophia fell asleep between us on the couch. My phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was Rachel. The shop failed. I am bankrupt. Clara and John are suing me over the money. Please assist. I erased the mail without replying. Another text arrived. I'm your sister. Doesn't this signify anything? I blocked that number. Michael discovered me on the back porch later that night, gazing at the sky. He brought me tea and sat near me. No regrets? He inquired. I thought about it thoroughly. I regret that they made the choice they made. I regret that Sophia heard it. I regret that this is who they are. But cutting them off? No regrets about that. Rachel's legal troubles will probably drag on for months. He proceeded. Your parents will lose their case eventually. She never signed proper loan documents, and even if she had, she's got no assets to collect against. How do you know that? I have friends in family law. They're talking about it. He took a break. Your parents will definitely lose the majority of that $140,000, and Rachel has already spent a significant portion of it on what? Apparently, she went on a shopping spree before the boutique transaction fell through. She bought a new car, furnishings and clothing because she believed she was going to start a profitable business. I drank my tea. Chamomile was my fave. I should feel something. Satisfaction maybe, or vindication, but I just feel tired. That's normal, Michael said. They were your parents. Grieving them doesn't require their death, just the death of who you thought they were. Did you know? I inquired. When you first met them, did you know it would end like this? I suspected, he said. The way they talked about Rachel versus how they talked about you. The way they lit up for her and offered polite smiles for you. I saw the pattern. I just needed you to see it too. Sophia shouted out from within, half awake and craving water. We went to her jointly and tucked her back in. Her room was filled with images she had drawn while recovering. Rainbows, dwellings, and stick-figure families. In each one, there were 3 people. Her, me, and Michael. My parents were not in any of them. 1 year later, I got a wedding invitation in the mail. Clara and John were renewing their vows. 40 years of marriage. The invitation was formal and costly. My name was on the envelope, but there was no personal letter. Only printed information and an RSVP card. I tossed it away. Clara phoned back 2 days later from another new number. I recognized the area code this time and nearly didn't respond, but my curiosity got the best of me. Did you get the invitation? She said, her tone guarded. Yes. Will you come? It would mean so much to us. Family should be there. No, I answered simply. Please. Your father wants to reconcile. So do I. We miss Sophia. We miss you. You chose this, I explained. When you had a chance to help Sophia, you chose Rachel's boutique. When you had a chance to show up for us, you chose your own comfort. Actions have consequences. That was more than a year ago. You're going to hold on to that forever? It wasn't about the money, I explained. I said it was about the choice. You revealed who you are when it matters. I'm protecting my daughter from people who see her as less important than their other grandchildren, or their investments, or their image. Rachel is suffering, Clara remarked gently. She's living in a studio apartment, she works retail, she has nothing. Then help her, I responded. That's what you chose. Live with it. And what about us? Clara's voice broke. Don't we deserve forgiveness? Forgiveness isn't the same as relationship, I informed them. I don't hate you, I just don't trust you, and I won't expose Sophia to people I don't trust. I hung up and blocked the new number. Michael discovered the invitation in the garbage later. Your mom called? Yeah. How do you feel? Free, I said. Is that wrong? Shouldn't I feel guilty or sad? You feel how you feel, he explained. They made their choice. You made yours. That's how consequences work. Sophia came into the kitchen after school, full of stories about her day. She had made the soccer squad. Her legs were strong and totally healed. She was prospering. Michael and I listened as she talked about practice, her friends, and the scientific project she wanted to start. She did not inquire about grandparents. She didn't disclose the invitation she wasn't aware of. She was content in the family we created, the one that showed up when it counted. My phone vibrated, another unknown number. I took a quick check at the text. This is cruel. We're your parents. We deserve better than this. I erased it without answering and switched off the phone. Sophia grasped my hand. Can we make cookies? Michael promised that we may try the dish with chocolate chips and peanut butter. Absolutely, I said, allowing her to lead me toward the cupboard. Behind me, Michael was already preparing the mixing bowls. Our house was warm, full, and secure. Outside, my parents were undoubtedly arranging their anniversary celebration and making excuses for why one daughter couldn't come. Rachel was doing a job she thought was beneath her, blaming everyone but herself for her circumstances, and I was preparing cookies with my daughter, who could walk, run, and live normally since we had rescued her without them. Some individuals believe family is everything. That blood requires forgiveness, That parents deserve unlimited opportunities. Sisters should always encourage each other. Those folks have not witnessed their parents prioritize money above their child's life. I did, and I chose appropriately.